We will now reconvene at 6:35 p.m. Mr. Bloom?
Okay, I'm still here. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I just wanted to mention that I did look it up and that the county on that particular time was meeting at 5:01 as well on the 23rd. So.
This is Debra, and I will add that I am not available on September 26th. I'm at a convention in Orlando. I can come on Thursday, but not Friday. Not anybody else. So I cannot come on the 26th of September, but I can come on the 25th of September.
Why not Wednesday? Somebody got anything?
I can come on the 24th as well.
You can't?
I can.
I'm shockingly available.
For which date?
Actually,
all of them. You just tell me.
Okay.
Actually, the 24th is actually better.
So it looks like there's a consensus for the 24th. So 24th, Stephen?
Okay,
for the second
24th at, what about the time?
6 o'clock, please.
Okay.
September 24th, yeah, 6 p.m.
The second budget hearing, correct?
Yep.
September 24th?
6 p.m. If needed.
Wait.
You have to do the public hearing.
You have to do that one.
It's the third workshop we may not have to do.
So correction. So September the 24th at 6 p.m. we will be having our second public hearing. Correct?
Not at 5:30. At 6
Correct,
p.m.
at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now this is the final.
And we do
24th,
have a
6 p.m.
regular council meeting on the 23rd. Is that correct? No.
It's the 2nd and the 16th.
Okay.
I'm
I guess
I'm good with the other day.
we're set. So the meeting on, by the way, the meeting on the September 12th, the first one, do you want that also at 6 p.m.?
If you can do it for them, I'm sure they would love it. It gives them that extra 30 minutes to get here from where they're traveling from.
Okay. We'll make that change as well.
The 12th, September 12th.
August 12th.
September 12th. What about if we have to do a week, is that still good with the week in between, Stephen? The 12th
Is it okay for the advertisement? That's the problem.
That would be the problem because you don't really have a lot of advertising options. But that would be a question for the city clerk in terms of it has to be advertised at minimum 2 to 5 days prior to the hearing. So if you have, let's say you have it on the 12th, that's why I've always really given at least a week. That's probably the tightest because that means the city clerk's going to have it advertised no later than the 19th. Usually I think it's the 19th or 20th. And that's really tight across the board, unfortunately.
There's a Florida League of Cities conference
that week.
They announced the thing the other night.
Latricia, no, on September 10th we have a fire assessment workshop. Unless I've got it down for public hearing, fire assessment at 6 o'clock on September 10th.
Is that correct, Chief? September 10th?
Is that not right?
I don't have it either.
The fire department doesn't know about it.
Well, you gave that to us at our last meeting. I can take it off. That will be fine. Are you planning to have another workshop? No. Okay.
So, Ms. Meredith,
taking it off then.
What are we back to?
Is the 10th
Yeah, I mean, I can.
10. Stephen, would September 10th be possible? No,
I mean-
Latricia.
Can't have it before the calendar.
It's Patricia's birthday.
Can't have it before the
Oh,
wedding.
you said 10th of September.
Is that your
Oh,
birthday?
Can't have it before the school board either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do not. Just so you know, if you have an assessment, and this is only because of the assessment, they're saying that the non-ad valorem hearing part of it cannot be held prior to September 12th, because that guarantees that the property appraiser can get the trim notices out in the appropriate amount of time.
Okay. Well, the 12th is good. At 6 p.m. Everybody.
Yep, and then that
The 12th
those
at 6 p.m.
assessment rates have to be certified to the tax collector by September 15th. So
Okay.
that's not a huge window that they gave us. So that's why it really unfortunately had to be on the 12th, because the 15th is a Monday, and you obviously couldn't have the meeting and certified on that same day.
Stephen,
Okay.
And we changed it to 6.
12th. The 12th is.
Stephen, will you have what you need to give to me by the 15th? Because I have to advertise on the 15th. I have to send it to the
Yes.
newspaper.
Yes, I will. Because
Okay.
Honestly, during that first public hearing, there's not a ton of changes that
Okay.
are usually made at that point after 2 or 3 workshops. So normally I already create the information going into that first workshop, so that if nothing changes, I already have it to send to you.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Because if I get it on the 15th, they will be able to publish it on the 19th.
Great. Okay.
The 12th. And the 24th. Right?
For the public hearing at 6 p.m. Now for the other dates, the budget hearing, workshops. Everybody's good with those dates? With the dates. So that's the only one you'll miss? Alright. Anyone else? August 12th. August 26th. The third budget workshop.
If we have to have it.
If we have to.
A lot of times we don't have that work.
Okay. And then September 12th, 6 p.m. first hearing, public hearing, and 26th, second public hearing at 6 p.m.
Change that to
24.
And everything is at 6. Am I catching that correctly?
They want to change them all to 6.
Yeah, we're going to put them all at 6.
So they
It's hard to get, yeah. Hard to get.
makes it easier for them to get there.
Any other questions for Mr. Bloom? Not on that. All right, so we're going to move forward. Mr. Bloom, anything else for us?
I
At this
appreciate you listening to me for this long. I do not have any other slides. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere, so happy to answer any questions. I'll look at any specific pages you have. Anything else you'd like to go through? I'm here.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move forward with item number 3, budget introductions by departments. City Manager Beaudet.
Actually, Stephen, do you want us to do the millage rate next?
Yes, I actually, and it's up to city manager and team. I thought I had requested to pull number 3 off. I didn't think we were going to do the full department presentations today unless it was specifically asked for by the council. But it'd be great if we take care of the millage next.
We can move the millage where you want it, but yes, I want their presentations. I don't know about anybody else. I do.
Okay, fair enough. So if we get the millage through that way, once you get all those presentations, you're not too tired to go back over to the millage. So.
Okay.
We're gonna do the millage.
Stephen, they would like to do the millage first before the presentations.
Okay. So we can, just again, a lot to discuss, but if you wanted to kind of move over to slide 16 is kind of, and again, the one before shows you some information, but the slide 16 gives you the options and rollback and some of the dollars, and then the ones after that give you the impact. And then, like I said, again, it's right now what's in there is 7 mils compared to the current year, which is 6.75.
And Stephen, to be clear, so if we set the millage rate tonight at 7, that's the maximum that the council can do, correct? Whatever we set that tonight is the maximum that you can do. Okay. So as Stephen said, the budget is at 7 right now. Of course, you've got several different options on page 16. You want to do something other than 7 that we proposed.
I make a motion that we set it at 7% and try and find a way to get rid of $217,000 from the budget so we can reduce it back again.
A second.
Is this the time for discussion?
Can I make one more point?
If we're going to discuss, you have to discuss before you vote. We are, but we have to decide what we want it to be.
Well, we have a first and second.
Yeah.
It's called discussion.
Yeah, there's no discussion. If there's no discussion.
Can I make one point?
Sure, go ahead.
The differential, I just wanted to kind of clarify for you. You would not have to find 217,000 to lower it. The 217 is the total increase year over year at 7 mils. You would only have to reduce the budget. We'll pop it into my calculator by I believe about. Hold on. 6.75. So the difference between 6.75 and 7 is about $50,000 of revenue. So, kind of, and that's kind of, every 0.25 in each direction on average is about 50,000, meaning if you wanted 50,000 more, you would go up 0.25. If you wanted to reduce it by 0.25, then you'd have to reduce by 50,000. Just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to give you the impression it was the full 217.
I'm just sorry. It's not my strong suit. Could you give me like the idiot's guide to how the difference for taxpayers would be $700 on each of their tax bills as we go up by 100,000, but we only need 50,000. We only gain technically $50,000 in revenue. That math doesn't math for me.
Well, okay. Make sure I'm understanding the question. I'll switch pages here.
Page 18, Stephen.
Okay. So what I'm showing here is the incremental change in taxes of the 100,000. So it goes up by $700 for anybody. Again, this is just a a rough calculation. It does not mean anything into your tax roll, because your tax roll, the taxable values are set. This was just kind of to show you if I'm a resident at 100,000, how does that compare to a resident at 200,000, and so forth and so on. It doesn't mean that you can take that $700 and multiply it by a certain number of parcels. It's really just kind of a comparison as to how it changes. You would still only get, for example, 200,000. You're still only going to get 1,050, if that is. It's not like we are increasing the taxable values. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it well enough, but it's really more of a comparison on if a resident who is looking at this going, okay, where would I fall into this scenario?
Okay, so that's not an increase. The $700 is not an actual increase that any. Okay, Debra says that the $700 is an increase that our citizens would see next year if we went from 6 point wherever we are to 7.
Correct. Yep. They would see at that incremental amount, they would see another $700. If they were still at, like I said, if they're still at the 100,000, their impact is very small. Because as it goes up, because they have the $50,000 exemption. That's kind of why I tailored it to show the 200,000, because the 100,000 you can look at the mills and you can see each is just $12.50. But now when because that has the exemptions. When you add another 100,000 of pure taxable value, that has no exemption value to it. It goes up to 700. So again, if you're within the 100,000 range, and it's $12.50 between the two. And I think the only really best way would be to visualize it, to see the whole tax roll. That makes it a little bit harder. So I try to do some averages, give you some broad overviews, estimates on what that looks like. Everybody's going to be a little bit different.
Can I circle back? Because if residents are going to see a $700 increase in their taxes for every $100,000 of assessed value of their property, am I correct about that?
Yes.
How do we get to $50,000? We have a lot more properties than equals $50,000 divided by 700.
You have a lot less. You have some that are exempt. You have some that parcels that are right of ways, governmental parcels. I mean, it doesn't. You can't take the 50,000 and divide it by 700 and come up with the number of parcels, because there are a lot of parcels that wouldn't even reach that value. It's not a you can't do it on that basis, because there are so many different types of parcels with different values.
So the takeaway is that if we increase to 7 mils, the customers will see an additional $700 for every $100,000 additional value their property has over $100,000. That seems like a lot.
If you've got a $300,000 house, it's going up $1,400. And that's just the city portion. That doesn't include the county portion or any of the assessments. And we've already heard how we think they're going to go. I'm afraid to think. And I can tell you, I want to go down. I would love to go to 6.5, but at the very least, I would like to go to 6.75.
And you do have the option to do that later.
I know, but I've heard that before. I hear from them every day. Yes.
All right. I guess we'll
Moved.
Is there any questions or comments by the public? And
And I would just say it is going to show on the trim notice at 7 mils if we set it at 7 mils, and that we're gonna hear that immediately. And I know it's not about hearing it, but that's an awful lot of money to go up one fell swoop. I wouldn't want to do the whole rollback rate and go to 0 increase, but I sure would like to go to at least 6.75 or 6.5. And like you said, if we go to 6.5, we got to make up $100,000. If we go to 6.75, we got to make up $50,000.
So that's what you want to do.
That's just me.
So we have a vote. So we need to move to vote.
You have a motion.
We did. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose,
Nay.
say nay.
Hey.
Nay.
Hey. I know I second it, but
You get 3 nays.
3 nays.
We got 3 nays. I'll just start over again.
Yes. So, motion has failed. A vote, 2 to 3. Stephen, you say we're currently at 6.75?
Correct.
So we're currently
at
7.
He said we're currently at 6.75.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me be very clear.
It
The
says
current
that one
year, 2024-2025, is 6.75. What's in the budget is 7.
Okay. So we said 7, but we went to 6.
I knew I read somewhere that
Gotcha.
it was 6.75, but every other place says that the current assessment is 7. I guess you meant current in the budget.
Correct.
All right. If it's 6.75, how much extra is there? I'm looking. Sorry.
It's about 50,000.
So the 7 would equal about $50,000.
Yes. Yep. So if we reduce it to 6.75, then we'll have to find another $50,000 in the general fund.
Thank you, sir.
So the extra quarter mil earns 50,000.
Correct.
Okay. So if we looked at the 7 in your chart on page 16 and dropped 50 off of the change in revenue increase.
What page?
Page 16. If we
Yeah,
drop
it's about 100 and the increase would be 170. So it's
and the percentage would drop to what? Maybe 8 or so?
no 5.83.
Oh, the percentage would drop to 5.83. Oh, I like that a whole lot.
Yep, that's the percentage over the rollback rate that we're talking about when we say the percentage.
Okay, right. Yes. I make a motion that we set the millage rate at 6.75 and hope we can drop it back to 6.5.
So 6.75 is what it currently is?
I have a first, have a second. Oh, I thought. What was your question again, Mayor? Sorry.
No, I just asked for clarification. If that is currently what we are at, is 6.75. A lot of numbers were tossed around.
Correct.
But in fact, our current one is 6.75. So the motion is to keep the millage rate the same as it is now.
Correct. I have a first, and can I get a second?
yes, I'll second.
So
And that's based on 6.75.
So we have a first and a second in discussion.
I just want to remind council that at our Swanee River League of Cities meeting on Thursday, that Sam talked about this. And I don't know if you all remember the things that he said that we really needed to up our millage in order to be able to keep up. I just want to throw that out there.
We're going to have to cut hard if we do that.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I have something.
Yes, Mayor.
Stephen, I believe you said that there has not been a millage rate increase for 5 years.
I think it's 4.
4 years?
If I look at my chart here, it's
what
going
else
back
in this
to,
country has not increased in the last 4 years? That's all I have to say.
The other thing to keep in mind here is that, I mean, the majority of the other municipalities in the county will set their tentative millage rate right now at the highest rate possible because it gives them that wiggle room. They can obviously go down from there, but whatever you guys set tonight, we can't go higher than. So if we set it at 6.75, we're then at 6.75. We cannot go any higher. So just keep that in mind. We're locking ourselves in.
I feel like this is the hole that the city dug itself into over the past years of not increasing utility rates, not increasing the millage rate, and then we end up in this huge deficit, and then we have to make a big jump, which is much harder on the average citizen rather than making small amounts. Now, I'm as horrified as everybody by the math of $700, because that does not seem small and incremental, particularly because I know the county is going to go up too, but I definitely think we should leave ourselves room, which is why I said let's start at 7 and then see if we can trim some places and get it back. But if we keep going lower and lower and lower when the cost of things continue to go up and up and up, we are going to be in a big, huge problem. And the citizens will pay for it ultimately. They're just going to pay for it in one big fat chunk like they did with utility rates instead of slowly over time.
It is still a 5.8% increase and $170,000 over what we collected now. That's why I'm okay with it. That's still a lot. I mean, it probably only drops it to what, 600 maybe? So how much a household for over 100,000 is, Stephen? Do you have an idea?
I do not have the
Okay.
what I haven't received yet is the property tax data that give you kind of, because that's one of the things I can't tell you. How many residents are at 100,000? How many residents are at 200,000? That's a big part of it, and I just don't have that data just yet.
Any other discussion? Any discussion from the public? We have a motion. Move to vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Could you restate the motion, please?
Set the millage rate at 6.75.
Thank you.
Yes.
All those who are opposed, say nay.
Are we tied again?
No. Aye.
He didn't vote initially. I said aye.
So is it 2 to 3 again?
So it's gonna be,
But it passes.
yeah, motion pass.
All that
2
said,
to 3.
all that said aye.
I mean 3 to 2.
Alexa and Meredith said that. Oh, the other three said yes.
Well, he didn't vote on either one of them. And then I looked and I said, and that's when he gave his vote aye.
Okay. The aye was meant to be a yes.
Aye. Yes, a yes.
That's in sailor language. Okay.
That's Robert's Rules of Order.
Motion passes 3 to 2.
And there are, I think, when we get to going into digging into the budget, I think there are areas that we can very easily cut.
So, Stephen, you're all set?
Is he staying all right?
Yes. Stephen, are you still there? Did he fall off? You think he passed out?
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll start.
Aaron, have you lost Stephen?
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and start the budget introductions by department. We're ready to do that. We'll start with the police department. Chief Rolls.
If he is still there, is there a reason he is not answering the president? Generally, if the president says something, you answer
No,
back.
Stephen, we can't hear you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to go back to item number 3, budget introductions by department. City Manager Beaudet.
Chief, you ready? All right. Police department. Take it away.
All right, here we go. Well, good evening. Back some time ago, if you remember, I think it was last year or the year before, Stephen had put into 521 budget $70,000 for law enforcement vehicles. Just to do a rewind back before this transaction took place, we were purchasing a lot of vehicles through the USDA. But then USDA faded away, so we were able to come up with $70,000 to put in a vehicle fund to buy one vehicle, which normally we were buying 2. So we broke it down to 1.
Not this year.
No, the years before. I'm going backwards a little bit. Yeah, years before we bought 2 vehicles through USDA, but then when USDA went out, I think it was last year. And y'all have to excuse me, I've been sick all day. I think last year. I know, right? Last year, Stephen put in the budget the amount of $70,000 to purchase a vehicle yearly. This year, I'm asking the council to allow me to move those funds over to other line items within the budget 521. I'm requesting to provide an additional increase on top of whatever the city decides or plan on awarding the employees this year. For an example, if the city's going to give a 3% increase to employees, I would like to do an additional increase of 4% or a 7% increase across the board for law enforcement only. This will absorb $36,200 from that $70,000. This would move our starting pay from $48,000 to $51,360. This would help us keep in line with the trend in pay in law enforcement. This increase will only help us to continue to move forward and to help retain and recruit law enforcement officers. It is my understanding this year that the sheriff is asking for $58,000 for his starting pay for law enforcement officers. That's his ask. I don't know if he's going to get it or not, so don't. I'm not saying that's a solid number, but that's what he's asking. They're currently at $50,000, and we're at $48,000. The difference of $2,000. If that request is met, they're going to be $10,000 ahead of us. We don't do anything. If we approve this increase, I'm requesting to move our starting pay to $51,360. The gap is still wide between us and the sheriff office and other law enforcement agencies, which I'll provide more information later. But that gap will still be $6,640 from the original $2,000, which could decrease our chances in maintaining and recruiting law enforcement officers. The reason why I'm asking for the funds to be reallocated into the budget is because, as you all know, we were able to purchase 2 vehicles from the Dunellen Police Department when they shut down. That put our vehicle fleet in a pretty decent shape. I'm hoping that we'll be able to keep these vehicles in decent shape for the next 2 years. So we can look at this on a year-to-year basis as to, at year 1, are the vehicles still functional and still operational for us to use? If so, then we move and carry that over into year 2. By then, hopefully, we'll have school cameras up, we'll have new growth in the city, and the internet services will be up to help the general fund. Now, Now, what I'm hoping is that I never have to come back and ask the council for monies for vehicles if the school zone cameras are producing like they should be. So this may be a washout for me having to come back to the council, but we can reevaluate that on a year-to-year basis. Now, with that being said, the growing trend in law enforcement, as you all know, if you do anything on social media, is expanding beyond what I ever thought it would be in my 36 years of law enforcement. So these are all asking prices. These are not locked in stone. I think there's only one that's locked in stone on this whole list. But I'll just give you an example of why it's so important for us to continue to move our pay forward for our law enforcement officers if we're going to retain them or if we're going to be able to recruit. For instance, Levy County Sheriff Office currently at 50. They're asking to go to 58. Marion County Sheriff Office, they're at 60,000. They're asking to go to 63.5. Florida Highway Patrol was 52.5. They moved to $60,000. That is already done. That's already approved. The Chiefland Police Department, they're at 46,200. They're requesting to move to 50,000, which is an 8.2% increase. Hot Springs Police Department, they're not changing their starting pay, but they're requesting that their officers that are currently there move up to $48,000. The Bellevue Police Department, they're at 53.5 currently. They're requesting to move to $61,000. Wildwood Police Department, 56,000. They're requesting to move to 60. Lateral, 55 currently. They're requesting to move to 57.5, which I think their budget has already been certified, so they're set. Gainesville Police Department is asking for 60. Here's the big one. The University of Florida Police Department was at $51,000. They just did a pay increase of $13,000 across the board, which made their starting pay now $64,000. Latricia County Sheriff, they're requesting to be moved to $55,000. And I know some people say, and I've heard it here before in these budget meetings, that we're not in competition with them. And you're absolutely right. We're not in competition with them as far as pay because we can't afford to pay what they're paying. But we are in competition with them when it comes to where we're getting our employees from, how we're getting our employees, because every law enforcement agency, whether it's Marion County, Alachua, Gainesville, Trenton, wherever, we're all pulling out of the same pool of people. So we are in competition with them when it comes to identifying new employees that are coming into our police department. I'm already losing officers currently due to pay. So what I'm requesting is to move at least $36,200 out of that vehicle fund into salary and wages. Now, there's still money left over out of that $70,000. So to make this where it was a flat line, pretty much, and that $36,200 all in. That's pension, that's taxes, that's everything. That's all in. So what I did was to help offset the cost where it did not affect the budget is I took from the other money, I took $10,000, I'm requesting to take $10,000 and put in overtime. That will help offset the cost for the new increases. I put $10,000, requesting to put $10,000 in holiday pay to offset the increases in pay. And then I requesting to move $13,000 into vehicle maintenance. Since we're going to be maintaining these vehicles for a longer period of time, it's going to cost us a little bit more money in maintenance. So at the end of the day, after talking to Stephen, as far as the increase of the 4% on top of if the city gives 3%, we're flatline. Our budget is flatline. We're not asking for any funds from the city. We're maintaining what we have and being able to make the adjustments within our current budget. And that's only for the law enforcement side, which would be 521. That is my request of the council, and I hope that I did enough to explain it. I think it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
I don't know if okay. So my concern is for the officers that are currently employed that are 5 of them making $49,000, $949,970, they would be making less money than somebody else starting.
No, ma'am, because
Nope.
the increase would go across the board starting now.
Got it. Big things.
And then I'll go into dispatch.
So you're saying that the officers would get a 3% raise, which would put your lowest person here at 49,000. Is that correct?
I believe he said 4%.
Yeah. If the city gives a 3%, that would take the lowest paid officer to $49,452.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the 3%, if the city decides to give that, award that to the employees, I'm requesting it for an additional 4% out of the current budget of $36,200. I'm not asking for any more funds. I'm just asking to reallocate funds that are already in the budget. I'm trying to come in with a flatline budget so we don't have to go back and be trying to find money and do different things. So I want to present a flatline budget.
You're just rearranging the funds amongst the fund.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
I think it's ingenious that you use the money that you had and put it in a pot where you need them. I think you asked for it, $324 for it. That's just this much more.
Yeah, I think
Just a hair.
I think the whole budget for 521 was only a 2% increase.
0.9.
0.9, yeah.
But it says here, it's like $324. 0.9.
Steven, did I do a good enough job explaining that?
Steven, are you back?
He's having technical
We got technical problems.
discussion.
We can hear you a little bit. Still kind of broken.
I think the answer to the chief's question is yes. He explained it well.
If I may, Stephen, does this mean that you heard the council's trim notice?
Yes,
Yeah, he heard it.
I was talking. You guys weren't able to hear me, but yes, I heard the millage rate vote.
And does the fact that we've lowered it from how it's budgeted in affect Chief Roll's budget?
Not specifically, but again, we're somewhere as we have these discussions or subsequent ones, we're going to have to find that, that $48,000 to $50,000 that we lowered it. So whether it's here or a different department, we will eventually have to account for that.
Any other discussion? Any discussion from the public? Okay, you can dispatch.
Oh, okay. All right, 529 is the second part of the law enforcement budget. I have no changes in 529, except that the dispatchers do fall under the union. So whatever percentage of increase that the general employees receive, the dispatchers fall under that. But other than that, I have no additional changes in the in 529 budget. I know there's $300,000 in there for dispatch consoles, but as Stephen stated earlier, I'm diligently working on trying to get those donated or get them at the lowest possible cost that we can get them from the county. So I'm currently still working on that as we speak. So no change to 5.9. Take a vote.
I'm sorry, Chief, I didn't hear it either. Did you actually vote?
We did not. She just said that we don't have to vote individually.
Okay. At this meeting,
because this is just a workshop.
You're right, can't vote at a workshop. But what we normally do is give Stephen direction. Like if we wanted to lower something or rearrange something, we tell him to do it and he brings it back up.
Okay.
All right, if no changes on the police department, we'll move on to Chief Stiegel with the fire department.
Good evening, everyone. If you've looked at my budget, you have seen a little bit of an increase coming up. The major increase that's coming across the board here is that we have added Danny Wallace to the fire department. Fire inspections, he was doing fire inspections, logistics work, working out of the city manager's office. We have moved him into the fire department. There are a couple of line items in there that did increase by moving him in there. One of them was like in the telephone section. A little old 50% increase there on the $600 increase. And that's because the city has never paid for Danny's cell phone while he's been using his personal cell phone for city business for the last however many years he's worked for the city. So overall, the budget didn't change. The major change, ma'am?
Don't we all?
Don't we all? Some people volunteer to do that. He didn't have a choice.
I mean us.
And, well, yes, you do. And, another increase, a small increase in there, Stephen, this comes into the assessment report, the annual assessment report. I think, what's that number you have up there? 10,000? You're going to have to raise that up by $4,000. That's $14,000. They said that would more than cover anything on the annual assessment report. The biggest thing we have on there is on the capital improvement plan, and that was for a new brush truck. Folks, to give you an idea, the fire department fleet, I misspoke a while ago. It's not 18 years old. It's significantly newer. Our average age of our vehicles is only 16 and a half years old. So, we're looking at replacing a brush truck, actually replacing the squad and moving the squad to a brush truck position. And that is the major increase. I'm open for any questions you guys may have.
I have two.
Yes, ma'am.
I have the travel expense. Why has that? Obviously, there was projected. Why is that doubled?
Part of that come out of Danny's budget for traveling back and forth doing the inspections. Part of it is we have to start attending more classes to get out. We're coming up on a cycle where we have to renew our inspectors. So you're going to be paying for travel for people to go to these classes. That comes under training to some degree. But when you go to do your fire inspector classes, sometimes you'll have to travel to Orlando and places like that to take the class.
Okay. And then my other question is just out of curiosity, because you guys share the same building, the utility services, and this is probably just my lack of knowledge, yours has jumped up significantly compared to the, I lost it over here on the Chief's page, Chief Roll's page, didn't go up at all, it actually went down. Is that some reshuffling of who pays what bill?
No, not really. Basically, we're just looking at what the future holds for us. If you come over to our station, I'll be more than happy to show you our 8-ball test, where we put an 8-ball in the middle of the station and it decides which direction it wants to go on which day. If you'll look back as to what Chief Rolls just recently had to have repaired, that out in the sewer, we've done that same thing, and we're looking at some issues right now that we're going to probably run into the exact same thing.
Okay. So So the utility services is including repairs, not just
Yes, ma'am.
the bill that you pay.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you.
And if I can add to that, Stephen kind of monitors that and sets kind of a rate of where he think it may go for next year.
So, Stephen, did you catch that you need to increase the professional services for the assessment report from 10,000 to 14,000?
Yes, I did. I'll talk with the chief later. I don't know. The email I got from them said something lower, so I can certainly do that, but I'd like to have further discussion with them.
That'll be fine. I got this email this week. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
And I'm right there with Councilmember Martin on the building maintenance, the miscellaneous expenses, the training, vehicle repairs, and the materials and supplies. All pretty much significantly went up. You pretty much explained those already. Hoping maybe you can find that $4,000 in one of those line items.
We can work on it.
I'm still trying to drop this $50,000, not trying to increase it by 4. Oh, no, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm going to be telling that to everybody, not just the chief.
Any further discussion?
I guess not only the increase in the vehicle principal payment, that's because of a new vehicle that's coming.
That would be a Stephen question, but I would think so, yes, ma'am.
Stephen, did you hear that question? The current budget is $19,458 for vehicle payments, and it went to $44,000. Is that because of the new truck?
That is to accommodate there's already one fire loan,
right,
to accommodate a second one.
Thank you.
Chief, did you have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Any other comments or discussion? We will move on to community development.
Or that's you.
Laura, which one do you want to start with?
Planning and zoning. What page?
22.
22.
Is everybody on page 22? Thank you. So you'll see that this budget went down by almost 35%. We don't have the comp plan. We'll be finished with that. And the contractual services did go up, but we're going to need that for other comp plan amendments and some other planning. This is also when I use ratepayers. So overall, the budget went down 35%.
Does $75,000 include a Main Street manager?
No. That's a whole nother budget you guys are gonna have to do.
Yeah, I realize that. I just didn't know if you were trying to do it.
No.
We wanted to. We talked about it, but
not under community development. That's its own program.
Oh, it would be its own separate thing.
Any discussions? Questions? Public? Okay.
So building permits, that's just kind of a wash. That budget is projectile. You know, we just like try to see how many permits we're going to get in. It just depends on which permits we get. So it'll go up and down as far as the final numbers, but it won't affect your final numbers at all. So we went a little bit up just in case, but it was an increase that we may or may not see. You guys understand how building permits are paid for? We bring in a building permit, they pay us for it, and 80% goes to Safe Built, 20% goes to the City of Williston. So, what? 83.7. So, it all depends on what we get in and what we don't get in, but it will always cover the permits. Salary, huh? Yeah, we get 15%.
So this year we budgeted 125,000, and we only spent 65,000.
Correct. We thought that the townhomes would be further along by now.
So is there room to decrease it there? And we've been really busy this year, is what I'm trying to say. At least I think you've been really busy.
What do you want to? You want to decrease the?
I mean, even
contractual services.
Even if we went to 125 or 130.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what number you put there because it's going to be.
It's going to wash. I realize that.
Yeah, so you can change that.
But it helps the budget a lot, and it is pretty much your only increase in your budget.
But is it? I mean, this is a very unpredictable number. So if we take, again, forgive me, numbers are not my thing. If we say, we cut 5,000 there, it could easily go over 5,000, just depending on.
It's okay though, because it's income.
Okay, got it.
So we're still gonna get some of that.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Am I explaining that, Sue?
Yeah. No,
okay.
They pay for the permit. The permit money is there. We pay it to the inspector.
Yeah, it wouldn't ever be like an expenditure on our.
Okay, got it. Great, thank you.
So yeah, if you want to balance the budget better with that, that's fine.
I mean, it would help a little bit, even if it was 125 or 130. I'm looking all the way back to 24 when you built a whole subdivision, and it was only 92.
Mm-hmm.
Now his rate may have gone up since then. Probably has. But I'm thinking 125 would probably be plenty. And like you said, if it doesn't, it'll wash. Just trying to find some funds.
How many townhomes are there total?
55.
And how many homes at CLE?
98.
Yeah, so I mean, unless we have another really big subdivision coming in.
Well, we were supposed to, right? So, I mean, these subdivisions are always in their plans. Because remember, we thought we would have Curtis's property by now. We had the nice PUD brought in front of us. Didn't happen. And then Laurel Point hasn't happened yet. So that's what those numbers are coming from.
So you throw out a number that Stephen can hear.
Oh, well, Stephen can. You trust Stephen, right?
Is Stephen listening?
I'm still here.
Okay.
I want to make a point here. One of the things, and we heard this from the auditors again, the total building permitting cost is $188,000 that's in here, and your revenue is $150,000. So in essence, you are not covering 100% of your costs. That might be something, again, I know we've looked at that in the past. That might be something, again, to take a look at, because that puts you in the hole about $38,000, that permitting fee is not covering. The second question I got kind of jumbled. What is the percentage that we pay the contractor?
83.7.
And is that a set amount?
No, it goes up every year.
No,
I mean that's why I said 80%.
83.7 is for every.
No, sir, it goes up every year.
Right, but for next year, for example, you're telling me it's 83.7% for every dollar of permit revenue. Is that an all-in? Because if it is, the number when we had some of our budget discussions that I put in here was 89%. So we might already have some built-in money here to put towards our shortfall.
Okay, I believe it can only go up 3%, and that usually happens in the spring. So it will never be 89 right now, next budget.
Okay.
But doesn't the
So
contract stipulate how much?
That helps.
And it probably has a built-in CPI.
Yeah, there's a built-in, and they approve it every springish.
Okay, that's about $8,000 that we can put towards our stuff. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate you confirming that for me.
So you're decreasing it to 125?
I'm just going to decrease it to 125,550. That's 83.7%.
Okay.
And you're recommending that we increase our permitting fees because they are not covering our actual cost of permitting?
Absolutely. All I'm recommending at this point is a review. I mean, and technically, they do. I think Laura probably already does reviews every year, but I just wanted, it was a good time to make that point that, permitting activities, the revenue and the expense should always, the state says it should be basically a net zero. So you are allowed to cover 100% of the cost for those activities. We're not even supposed to be doing more than that. So, but you have some room here. Again, I'll leave it to the experts to figure out how that looks, but certainly it's something to consider.
And we would have to do that by ordinance.
Right, so raising the permit fees themselves only gives State Belt more money. But what we have done is we've gotten the contractor fees, the administration fees. We're actually billing those now. And we hadn't been billing those for decades. So those things could be raised. Yearly contractor fees and administrative fees. Like, I think we just do it when the permit comes in, but maybe we could do it for every permit that, if there's electrical and everything else, we could talk to the state would allow us to do that.
So is that revenue source that needs to be added to the budget?
Not right now, because I don't know. That would be an ordinance, and it would take time.
Okay.
And I have to make sure that the, state statutes don't limit me. They've changed a lot of things this summer.
Yes, it is.
Any other discussions?
You want to get right to
No.
Oops. Let's go to 8 o'clock. So is Laura with animal control and the shelter as well? I'll go let her finish and then we'll talk about that.
So page 24 is animal control and code enforcement. The animal control code enforcement officer, their salary comes 70% out of this budget. This one increased a bit because we have a lot of training, and the vehicle fuel we're always under. We're always misjudging our fuel, so we raised that. Since we have a new officer, we raised our training, and I think that's all that we raised. Oh, materials and supplies.
Overtime.
Yeah, well, overtime was always kind of not correct. See what we projected and what we budgeted for.
So, now explain the overtime to me. I mean, the fact that we have multiple people. I mean, I know she's only one code enforcement person, and I have to take animal shelter in a
this
a totally different hat.
Yeah,
I have to keep that in my brain. But I don't know how does animal control code enforcement get overtime?
Nights and weekends. They're on call almost all the time, and they do get called out nights and weekends often.
So is it not something that somebody from the shelter that's part-time possibly could do instead of $10,000 worth of overtime?
Yes, ma'am. So those are part-time people, and I have offered them that position, and they were not interested.
You've offered them weekends to do that?
Yes, ma'am. Learning animal control. However, Donald has offered up some of his staff that is already on call to be trained to do easy calls, simple calls, and we've been trying that out, and I think that this number will go down significantly because they're already on call. So if they don't get a call, then they're not going to get an additional charge.
What are they doing on these overtime calls?
Going out to animal calls, bites, aggressive dogs. Don't forget we go to Bronson as well. Sometimes we have dogs dropped off in front of the animal shelter on the weekends, nights. Last call I got was for some kittens that were thrown out of a door, out of a moving car. I can't necessarily take kittens all the time, but I was not going to leave them because it was witnessed, so it's a good abuse case if you can get it. But that's what we get calls for.
So Kim, sorry, you go ahead.
Because I know in the brochure it says that you guys do not pick up animals.
We pick up animals. We pick up strays. We have a shelter full of stray dogs.
The brochure says you don't.
We don't chase strays. But we will pick them up. If somebody catches a stray and wants us to pick them up, we will pick them up. We don't take owner surrenders.
So can we possibly move that number to 6,500?
Sure.
Since this year's number is projected to be 62.
Mm-hmm.
I think 65 would be a good number there. Instead of a $900 increase.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of these calls myself and I don't get paid overtime, so this was the actual overtime for the person who is on call. So if I'm not doing overtime calls anymore that month, that might go up. That's fine.
Well, so hopefully they're not going to get it. I mean, I prefer they not.
So you said Donald said that some of his guys who are on call, once you train them, they can go and do that.
They're on call already, so they're already getting paid by the city to be on call.
Right.
So we're training them to do simple animal control calls in case, so that I don't have to be on call every night and weekends.
Right. Basically. So are you going to pay their overtime for when they have to
They're
go?
already getting paid.
I get it.
Yeah,
but it's coming out of their budget.
They get paid a whole lot higher
rate. Are you going to do it out of your budget?
They're already on call.
I get that.
But they get paid a higher rate. And I'm going back to the people that are working the animal shelter. I realize it's a different budget. But those people, sorry, forgive me for saying this, but we should be hiring people who are willing to serve that purpose. To be on call if we need them to be. I know that other people that have worked there have to be able to do that.
I've never had anybody at the animal shelter who wanted to be on call.
I know they picked up animals all over town because I know Mandy did that.
Mandy was not on call and she was salaried.
She wasn't on call, but she would go do it.
She was salaried.
Well, need somebody who's salaried.
Well, she'll be here on Monday, so she can help us again.
Do that.
we've been short staffed for 4 months.
I mean, rather than doing it from another department and getting a higher rate of pay, I'd rather do it with somebody from the animal shelter. Who's
okay. All right. Well,
I mean, that makes more sense to me.
Okay.
I mean, I realize you're running the department and not me, but it just makes more sense that they're trained to handle the animal already. I didn't touch it. I promise.
But you're not going to save any money if you do that. So if you pay the people who are working part-time that work, 20 hours a week, then you're just going to pay them more in salary. You're still paying regardless.
And not if they're making $45 an hour or they're making $30 an hour or they're making somebody in another department. You're paying them what their hourly rate is, not what the animal shelter people are making.
Right, but I'm just saying then your
So what I think we should probably do is stop for a sec. We should put another staff member on the animal shelter. Another full-time staff member, because these two are part-time people that we have that clean kennels. These are not animal control. So you probably want another full-time person out there.
So
you did have another full-time person. You changed it to a part-time person.
Hold on just a second.
No, I have a full-time person that's been on leave for 3 months.
I know, but you had two in your budget last year.
I had Don.
And he would do it. So
he would do it.
So we need somebody who will do it.
So yeah, and I talked about this when we hired our new code enforcement animal control officer. There's nobody left like Don and Wayne who want to be on call 24/7, 7 days a week.
Yeah, I don't think that's especially not for that salary.
I'm not saying that, Laura.
I'm good now. Sorry. So, what I was asking is because some departments, when their people are on overtime, don't want that amount coming out of their budget. So, the reason I asked that, when they are on call, then maybe that'll come out of your budget instead of coming out
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine.
utilities. That way we can kind of balance the amount that you need to cover the overtime.
Miss Selena, you do payroll. Would this be Would this be a nightmare for our payroll person to separate which is which? If they're going to be on call and they're willing to do it, then I've got no problem with that. With them doing that. Because some people don't want to have to go after dogs or go get them because they can be bitten and such. To where the lady that's running now, she's been doing it for some time, so she has a better understanding how to handle it. So,
Laura, in the past year, do you have an estimated amount of times that you guys have had, it doesn't have to be precise, had to have go out and pick up animals?
Nights and weekends? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
3 to 6 hours a week.
Okay.
Every call takes me, it's going to take me 2 hours to get through the call, figure out what's going on, get to the place, figure out what's going on, and then get back to the shelter to drop the animal off. If it's an investigation like a bite, it's going to take an hour out there.
Okay. I'm just trying to look at what she's saying, and if we hired somebody to do it, what would be the cheapest mode? And I don't know that hiring somebody to do it would be the cheapest method. Sorry. So,
and over here they're making $14 and $16 an hour, and over here even the lowest utility guys are making 16, 17, 20.
What's the highest amount?
The highest amount is 43.
43 overtime?
No, overtime.
Oh, and overtime is time and a half, right?
So
it makes no sense to have somebody out of their department do it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Not to mention that it's a payroll nightmare. And just for Stephen's sake, in the animal control shelter staffing plan, there are 2 people that make less than $14 an hour. They have to be corrected because $14 an hour is the minimum wage for this year.
Yes, Steve.
Kim and I were talking
We already
about
talked about it with Stephen.
Well, not here, so I'm saying it out loud. Sorry.
Yeah, that goes into effect September 1st, so their PAFs are going to get submitted here in 2 weeks to get them bumped up.
So would it be worth, for the sake of moving this along tonight, just to table this particular situation and come up with some different schematics for how we could make this work that doesn't burden salaried employees by having them go out at all hours and be on call 24/7 and doesn't, conflict with utility workers' wages and also their time, but also somehow, I don't know, I just feel like there might be a creative way to find an additional employee that could benefit the shelter and animal control on the weekends. I don't know. Do we just brainstorm this?
Do we have weekend people now?
Arguing it tonight?
At the shelter?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. But they don't want to do it.
They like their part-time jobs. That's what they were hired to do. They don't want to do animal control. They don't want to chase dogs. They don't want to do bites. They don't want to do aggressive animals. They don't want to drive to Bronson. That's not what they were hired to do.
So just for context, the $6,500 that you're proposing for overtime is, at Christie's time and a half, is 3.5 hours a week. So she'd basically be able to go on maybe 1 2 calls max a week.
Okay, but the point is, Christy cannot be on call 24 hours, 7 days a week.
I understand. I'm just saying for context. Yes. That's not a lot of overtime for her. That's maybe 1 or 2 calls a week. And she probably get at least 1 or 2 calls a week, right?
I'm just saying not her, not you.
Well, that's the case. $10,000 still isn't enough.
Because if you start
Even
looking
$10,000.
at anybody on the utility side, that's $6 or $7 more an hour times time and a half. Sure. So that makes no sense whatsoever.
But she's also licensed to be an animal control officer, correct?
Right. Yeah. And we already had a group of people who came in and said our code enforcement officer was not licensed properly, and we had to go get that sorted, so we can't go backwards.
We have a new.
I know, but I mean, if we have a weekend person, we can't go backwards to having somebody who's then certified going out to deal with animal calls.
But I think that's part of what she's saying, that with their training, they're going to be training people to be able to do that.
They're not going to get licensed and certified. They're not going to get certified.
That's totally different.
They're not going to be certified. They're just going out and helping us with calls.
Unless you hire another person like Christy, right? That's her name.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get anybody else. You're not going to get part-timers that are going to want to go get a dog that's has issues or somebody's been bitten, stuff like that. So unless we hire another full-time person, just like Christy, Laura, I got the confidence in you to handle it, however you see fit.
I mean, I thought we were going to get another manager for the animal shelter. Weren't we going to talk about that? Because this really should not be under community development. So what you guys really need to talk about is how this is going to be managed on its own. It's been 3 years. It was given to me for a short amount of time. It's been 3 years. So it's time for you guys to think about how that's going to be its own entity.
Is that a conversation we should have now? I mean, not tonight, but I mean, attached to this budget. Is it a conversation we should have had prior to the budget?
It is. But we know now.
We did not.
Yeah. And let me just say, I think there's an error on page 24. You tell me if it's not. Under the life and health, where it has a $16,811 increase. I don't. Is that possibly right? It could be.
Because if you see the budget for this current fiscal year was
It says
$51, it's not enough.
So
Because a full-time person gets health
So
insurance.
it's not an error. That seems like an awful lot. I mean, crazy.
So we didn't have a full-time person before.
We did.
Because we didn't have a full-time person until April 2024.
But we did in the budget.
For the shelter. Oh. Yeah, we did.
See the life and health, where it's 1681.
Oh, the 51? Mm-hmm. That was not correct.
That can't possibly be right. So
the animal control officer is actually allocated across 2 departments. So that's only a partial amount.
I'm talking about the life and health. Not the salary, but the life and health.
Everything. When a position gets allocated, all the costs across. I'll just look it up here for you, make sure I give you the right percentages. So it's a 70-30 split. So the animal shelter gets 30% of all the payroll costs for the animal control officer.
Yes, sir, but I'm not talking about payroll. And I know you're also talking about the allocated cost, which is life and health is included there. And we have 2 people, well, only one here actually, because we're in the animal control. Not in the shelter, but animal control. Go down a little bit. I'm talking about that 16,111.7% increase in the life and health. Is that right? Or is that just a formula problem?
Yeah, let me check the formula. No, the formula is... Oh, yeah, because it looks like in the budget last year there was only $51
right
in that department. I don't know where else we put it. I don't know if the prior person did not have. It's correct in the numbers. It's correct in what it is for next year. I can take a look at last year's file and see what.
Yeah, but it's 2025.
He did. It was probably the 51 was probably a typo from last year. Like we didn't put enough
one
money.
of them is a typo. I don't know which one.
Or not
I just
typo,
want
but
Stephen to look at it.
yeah, it wasn't allocated properly because we obviously gave that for Dawn had health insurance.
So the thing was, Wayne did not have health insurance, and then Don did. So what they budgeted for Wayne probably got mixed up when he left in the middle of the year in December, January, and then Don came on. And
that was like 2 years ago. It wasn't this year. This year's budget should be correct, and it's just not there. Like Sue said, the $51 is an error.
Oh, the 2025 budget.
That $51 has got to be an error. I'm just calling to your attention. I'm
No,
not
there's.
do anything about it. But.
Yeah, no. The short answer is that there was no health and life put in there for Don. I don't think I made the connection that he was going to have it. So all you're seeing there is life.
Okay. So it was
2025.
Well, sure, he got it. Okay, no problem. I just see that big number didn't look right. Sheltering? And there's that big number in the shelter too. Probably for the same reason.
Any other questions or comments about animal shelter and code enforcement? If none, we'll move on.
Just a question on professional services. That's when you take them to the vet.
Under the animal shelter? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had professional services and then other contractual services. We were hoping to get contracts, remember? Nobody wanted them, but we have made a new relationship with a vet out of area. Not just VCOP, because VCOP does a lot for us, but for when we need to bring them and it's not a scheduled surgery or vaccination. And they're they're working with us a lot more than the locals. So that number should be very good for next year. We should go down.
Anyone else? Any other questions? None?
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to take a break, a 30-minute break. 32-minute break. Be back at 8:30. They're gonna eat. Did you stop it, Latricia?